All right, we're going to talk about some of the tools you have as a presenter during your presentation to draw special attention to various parts of a slide. So just as if you were presenting with large pieces of paper, you might want to have a pen to draw on the slide. You might want to use a highlighter to highlight special notes, for example. Well, you've got all of these things in PowerPoint 2007, but they're electronic. And during a presentation, they don't actually modify the slides themselves. It's kind of like drawing on top of an overlay, for example, so that you don't damage the slide underneath. I'll show you what I mean. I'm working with Overview 9b from the previous lesson, but that's no problem. If you're skipping to this lesson, click the Office button and open. And from the Lesson 9 folder of your exercise files, you'll open up Overview 9c. Give that one a click and open. And let's go to Slide 4. So we'll click on Slide 4. And that's where we'll start our presentation from. So we'll go up to the Slideshow tab, and we'll click the From Current Slide button to start our slideshow from Slide 4. Alright, so here are some points. Now if we wanted to draw special attention to pastries, for example, because that was our specialty, down in the bottom left corner, and you just need to move your mouse down to the bottom left corner, we've got a pen. Now when we click the pen button, we've actually got more than one option. We've got a ballpoint pen, we have a thicker felt tip pen, we also have a highlighter, and we can change the color of the ink that we're using. So let's start with our ballpoint pen. Ballpoint pen is just this tiny nib, and you can see it as I move the mouse pointer around. So if I wanted to circle baked goods, for example, I could click and drag with my mouse to circle that. Now that's using black ink, so if I come back down to the pen and change the ink color to blue, for example, I could circle pastries. So let's just go down to our pen icon here, and we could use the eraser to erase something that we've drawn, or we could also come down to the pen and choose just erase all ink on this slide. So whether we use a ballpoint pen, a felt tip pen, or a highlighter, it's all considered ink. So let's go back up now, this time to the felt tip pen, and it's going to be red by default. So it's really going to stand out, and you can see it's a much thicker line. I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to change the ink color. Let's go to a bright blue. Now I'm still using the felt tip pen, which is a thicker line, but I've changed the color. I'm going to come back down to the pen again, this time erase all ink on the slide. Now another option is just to highlight, as if we had a highlighter in our hand. So come back down to the pen and click highlighter this time, and now we just click and drag over whatever it is that we want to highlight. And you can see it's just like an actual highlighter, the default color here being yellow. Now I know that highlighters come in different colors, and you bet you can change the ink color for the highlighter as well. So if we wanted maybe a purple, for example, I'll go to a light purple over here to highlight breads. So just clicking and dragging just like you would with a real live highlighter. Come back down here now, and we'll erase all ink on the slide. We'll come back down and change back to our arrow, which means we're not drawing on the slide anymore. We're actually just going to move to the next slide. Let's go back up to the previous slide with page up. And I just want to show you one more thing. We'll go to the highlighter, and we'll just highlight baked goods, for example. Now I mentioned earlier that we're not actually making changes to the slide itself. It's as if there's an invisible overlay on top of the slide protecting it. And I'm going to move back up to the previous slide. You can see it's still there. But if I hit escape, and escape's going to end my presentation, do you want to keep your ink annotations? I have an option here to keep them or discard them. So clicking discard takes me back to my slide, and you can see it's not actually highlighted here on the slide itself. Alright, so that covers using the built-in tools to draw attention to specific parts of a slide. We've got different kinds of ink, ballpoint pen, felt tip pen, and a highlighter, and of course we have the option to erase all of that when we're done. Alright, next we're going to look at using two screens in PowerPoint.